What did Rey borrow from Arya Stark? How is Kylo Ren's fate connected with that of Tyrion Lannister? What do Princess Leia and Daenerys have in common? Aside from their status as royalty, is Jaime Lannister's character really a tribute to Star Wars? It might sound crazy, but yes, these two totally different franchises do have a lot in common. Hi, I'm Tim, and you're watching Awesome Movies. C-3PO vs. Samwell Tarly. Awkward, strange-looking, cowardly, nerdy know-it-alls who are useless on the battlefield. Can you guess which one I'm talking about? Right, it's true for both of them. And if you need any important, or not so important information, they are the ones to deliver it to you. C-3PO and Sam Tarly both know an important secret, though it was erased from C-3PO's memory. You've got it, haven't you? R2-D2 and C-3PO were at Anakin and Padme's secret wedding, and Sam has found out the truth about Jon Snow's parents. Apart from that, both 3PO and Sam serve as a contrast to the other more serious characters. But in the case of Samwell, we can't say he provides much comic relief. Anyway, Game of Thrones hardly has any genuinely funny moments. Lando Calrissian vs. Walder Frey. The Red Wedding is of course not the same as the dinner on the Cloud City, but the sudden betrayal of their guests, and friends in the case of Lando, puts them together in our list of Star Wars and Game of Thrones similarities. Breaking guest right is simply evil, in any universe. And while Lando redeemed his sin, the same cannot be said for Lord Walder Frey. Well, we all know that his betrayal didn't serve him any good. Good job, Arya. By the way, both Lando Calrissian and Walder Frey were not the masterminds behind the traps. In Star Wars, it was Darth Vader, and in Game of Thrones, the Lannisters, who always pay their debts. Rey vs. Arya Stark. They could be twin sisters, really. Both lost their families at a young age. They scavenged in order to survive. They learned to fight, traveled far to find a mentor with supernatural powers, learned how to use their secret knowledge. What else? Oh, they're good with swords, and they both fight the supervillains of their universes. And while we don't know yet how Rey's arc will come to its conclusion, we've already had the pleasure of watching how Arya defeated the Night King. By the way, do you remember Arya dropping her dagger into her other hand before sticking it into his chest? Star Wars fans were quick to comment that they have already seen this move before, performed by none other than Rey in The Last Jedi. Padmé Amidala vs. Lyanna Stark. The stories of Padme and Lyanna prove that no matter how beautiful and noble you are, it won't necessarily make you happy, especially if you fall in love with the wrong guy. One thing leads to another, and suddenly we're dealing with a secret wedding, pregnancy, and death at childbirth. And this story triggers the events in their respective universes. By the way, their children's lives are pretty tragic too. Their secret lineage comes as a shock to both Luke Skywalker and Jon Snow, and further influences deeds. And Leia too eventually meets the dire consequences of her choices, at the hands of her own son. Kylo Ren vs. Tyrion Lannister. Estranged sons can strike back hard, can't they? Living in one's father's shadow might not be easy, but no one expects that to end in murder. But not for these scar-faced guys. Both Ben Solo and Tyrion Lannister have inherited formidable potential from their parents. However, they had to live lives that were full of hollow efforts at winning their dad's approval. In Game of Thrones, we don't really have to question why Tyrion killed his father. Tywin Lannister had always been cruel and constantly humiliated him. But what about Ben? Adam Driver has actually confirmed that his character chose to become Kylo Ren because he felt neglected by his parents, Leia Organa and Han Solo. He's lost in the world that he was raised in, and feels that he was kind of abandoned by the people that he's closest with. Obi-Wan Kenobi vs. Beric Dondarrion. The similarity between these two characters might not seem obvious, because you know, Obi-Wan is one of the iconic characters in the Star Wars Saga, and Beric can hardly be called famous in the world of Westeros. But a closer look at them allows us to see their common traits. And the first is Beric's flaming sword, of course. In his interview with The Guardian, the actor Richard Dormer has actually said that his weapon was the coolest on the show, and better than a lightsaber. Right, it's not that high-tech, but hey, the man lives in a society in the Middle Ages. Moreover, Richard Dormer revealed that when he was cast in Game of Thrones, director Alex Graves compared Beric with the legendary Jedi Knight, played by Alec Guinness. Both Obi-Wan and Beric are wise and spiritual, and became more powerful after they were killed. And while Kenobi continued guiding Luke Skywalker in the form of a Force ghost, Beric Dondarrion literally returned from the dead. Han Solo vs. Davos Seaworth. These two are the smugglers who become reluctant leaders. Primarily motivated by money and self-preservation, they both have good and even noble personalities. Caught up in the middle of the rebels' fight with the mighty Empire, Han Solo soon becomes the general of the Alliance fleet and the leader of a special forces squad. And the most infamous smuggler of the Seven Kingdoms, Davos Seaworth, ultimately ends up a member of King Bran's small council. What a career! By the way, both former smugglers have a soft spot for princesses, but of a different nature. But you cannot deny that Leia, and Stannis' daughter Shireen, played an important role in the lives of both Han Solo and Sir Davos. Princess Leia vs. Daenerys. Since 1977, we've known that princesses can be tough. They're not just damsels in distress. though they might seem like it at first glance. If you have any doubts, rewatch the scene when Han and Luke came to rescue Leia from her cell in A New Hope. Oh, Leia sure knows how to put people in their places. Both Dany and Leia are bold, strong characters who know how to strategize and how to rule, and how to fight too, as Leia is a blaster-wielding princess, and Daenerys is a dragon-riding queen. Moreover, they both became the leaders of huge armies, which followed them out of respect for their outstanding qualities. Also, they bravely fight against forceful enemies who have supernatural powers. The Emperor and Darth Vader, and the Night King with his army of blue-eyed walkers. And both Leia Organa and Daenerys Targaryen meet their tragic deaths, betrayed by those they love. Luke Skywalker versus Jaime Lannister. There's a fan theory that the character of Jaime Lannister is actually a Star Wars tribute. Here is the proof. Luke and Jaime are blonde-haired heroes, though you can't tell it when you first meet them. Both Jaime and Luke Skywalker have twin sisters. Remember that Cersei Lannister and Princess Leia influenced their brothers' life paths. Where would Luke be if he hadn't seen that "You're my only hope" message? And we all know that Jaime's life revolved around Cersei. Luke and Jaime's love for their sisters wasn't entirely taboo. It's obvious when it comes to Jaime, but you do remember that kiss in The Empire Strikes Back. Both Luke and Jaime had shitty nephews. Though Ben Solo reminds us more of Tyrion Lannister than Joffrey Baratheon, we can frankly admit that they are both spoiled and villainous assholes. Luke and Jaime both lost their right hands in battle, and got prostheses, but surely Luke's cyber hand has to be much cooler than Jaime's golden one. Their fathers were definitely evil and manipulative. By the way, both Darth Vader and Tywin Lannister wanted to rule the world, with the help of their children. And though neither Luke nor Jaime actually killed their fathers, they played a crucial role in their deaths. What do you think? Is it just a coincidence? Or did George R.R. Martin really base Jaime Lannister on Luke Skywalker? Can other similarities be explained by the influence of the iconic Star Wars saga? Let us know in the comments below. And keep watching awesome movies.